Okay, so let's start our scientific work without much speech and without me watching the slides before. It will be like straight off the container without previews. So I have no idea what you're going to find. So I don't have like a pre-prepared commentary for you, and I don't like have like any places like specific on the slides that I know that there are something interesting on them to watch, as I've had many times before. But this is, I wanted to be quick and kind of like more of a, not like a monographic inspection, but just an overview. So we actually have 6 slides. It's a lot. I will try to go quickly over it because both because I don't want the video to be too long, and actually because the way that I actually take the videos with the iPhone, it's after some while it's not comfortable. Like just to actually just hold it. So what we have here is currently is the following. So these 4 all came from this container. The first one is scraps from the oil that could be found on the top of the plate. That's it's spilled from the 3 very small candles that contain both a little bit of oil. It was, what oil was it? It was canola oil, but also it contained wax with wax that was enriched with life forms from the small container, the golden one that you've seen in the short videos that and also one long one from yesterday. That's kind of like it looks disgusting. So that's the first one, and the other 3 are taken from the burned material that is found here after quite a burn, but it was you've seen it burning in one of the previous short videos, and so it burned quite well, but it's not until the end. But there is still actually there is still much of a lot of wax in there that can be used as a fuel, because it only burned very relatively. It burned for several good minutes. I don't know, 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but there is still a lot of material. The black things is just of course that's just paper that that I've used as threads. And underneath the black burnt paper you can see the wax. So I've taken 3 samples, 2 from 3 layers. One from really deep and one from the middle, and one close to the paper, close to the burned paper, close to the top. We have 2 other slides that here. So this one was taken from the small one of the 2 smaller metal silver containers, the one with the 2 magnets that I presented it yesterday in the short video, and also one long one with 2 magnets. So I've taken a sample from from the honey. There is layer of honey. It's not really honey. It's like a beeswax mixed with a little bit of honey, I guess. And also, of course, it was fermented for some time. Without air supply. With water from the aquarium. So maybe we can find Neros in there. Maybe we can find life forms. I have no idea. It's the first time that I actually inspected under the microscope. And the last one is actually completely different. It was taken from this. This is a container that it's kind of like I don't want to get into it. In addition to the relatively big containers, I also have many smaller ones that are remnants of specific experiments, and I don't want to get into it. It's a specific material that was taken from a specific experiment maybe 2 months ago, and was kept pretty airtight, I think, in this red chewing gum, clean chewing gum container. So it's completely airtight, and it's based on. I don't have time to explain now. It's not that important. But I want for my own purposes, I want to inspect how this mixture looks. After 2 months of being airtight and closely and sealed, it's a remnant of one of the electrolysis. It's a remnant of the if you really watch all the videos and you are really versed on this material, so. It was remnant from the condensed material that was part of the big metal container and electrolysis chamber of the 3 of that I call it the colossi. If you remember the experiment they call the colossi, that we had 3 And like, so the middle one was the biggest, with the two kind of like, I mean, like colossus shape that, I mean, resembles like I mean, like either like like AGWL tripods or maybe, or like flying spaceships that shoot lasers on the ground. And it was kind of like a very elaborate one. And there was like some condensed material. So this is part of the condensed material, if you remember. I described it in another video, but let's not get into it right now. So let's just start to see what, I mean, what we have got here. So we should start from the material that was found, that was scraped from the plate. From the plate, it probably mostly, I mean, it's mostly like spilled oil, canola oil, and remnants of, maybe some kind of like thing that you could find, like, I mean, remnants of the enriched fuel that was found like in small quantity in the small, like, I mean, aluminum candles. Shouldn't be extremely interesting, but maybe we are going to be surprised. Let's just take a quick look. Okay, so this is interesting. Let's maybe zoom in a little bit. Nice. We definitely don't see much here, as expected. Let's zoom in even more. Maybe you can find something interesting. Yes, it's really dirty. I mean, the lenses, I'm sorry, the objective lenses are really dirty. But maybe you can see something. You see movement of fluid, which is of course typical in the maximum zoom for newly prepared slides. So not much to be seen in the maximum level. Let's get back to 64. So overall not very interesting, but I didn't think it's going to be too interesting because it's mostly just peeled canola oil. I mean, what are these? I don't know. They have very, very interesting shape. I don't know what are they. Anyway, let's continue with like another one which might be more interesting, which are the three ones that I've taken from the inferno, like from the burned wax. Originally, of course, it's made from wax and a little bit of like water from the aquarium with the neros and life forms, and it was kept sealed in the metal container without any air. So let's see what you can actually find. I've taken three slides. I mean, as I said, from 3 layers like of the glass. Also, I mean, I think that both should be like, I mean, subjected to very high temperature because, I mean, it was quite a burn. I mean, as you've seen, it's not like, I mean, it should all be burned in the beginning. And of course, all was like a fluid because, I mean, it's still hot like from the burn. So it didn't become really, the wax still did not solidify. So it's still liquid. Which is actually good for microscopy because, as you know, backlight microscopy works with fluids and not very well with, I mean, with a solid material. So right off the bat, we see very nice life form. Definitely something that is on the slide, and not something that is like on the lens or something. This is perhaps a Nero, I don't know. Let's try to zoom in. Actually, I don't know what it is. Let's get back to 64. This is nice. Just you tell me if it's like probable to find like biological life forms in such, I mean, like burned wax. I mean, you're the experts. I'm just giving you the evidence. Who is this one? We're definitely life form, and even it's kept its colors. Like, I mean, it's it managed to actually even keep his nice colors. Like, I mean, inside the inferno. More life forms. Very interesting. So this is interesting. So we see all sorts of stuff here. Okay. So maybe we should zoom in on one of the life forms just to see its shapes better. Yeah, definitely life form, and an interesting one at that. Very interesting. Maybe we'll try to do another zoom in, which is it's kind of like, I mean, difficult, but maybe we can get to see something. So it's just difficult with kind of like this camera setup. I'm sorry. Of course, the movement that you've seen is due to the movement in the liquid. It's not that it can move that fast, of course. It's just the movement in the liquid. Okay, so I think we had, I mean, enough with this sample, but let's take now a sample. Let's now watch another sample from the Inferno, but I mean from like the upper layer. So it will be, as you can see, I mean, it's more like, I mean, it contains more ash like or dark material. Just a second. Okay, so it's here, it's on the table. Let's start. Sorry, just a second. This is 64 magnification. Then we see, like, then this was taken from the ashes. So, I mean, these life form, whatever they are, they were burned, like, I mean, for at least 10 or 15 minutes in very great fire. So, I mean, I find it very difficult to believe that they are biological, but you tell me. Like, it was like, I mean, it was inside, like, I mean, like a kumsitz, like, I mean, a real big fire, like for at least 10 or 15 minutes. These are, I think, Neros, but I'm not certain. The Neros are very resistant to all sorts of things, like, I mean, chemical agents, temperature, even though, of course, they prefer low temperatures for their work. I mean, most probably because of the issue of conductivity, most probably, even though, I mean, I cannot prove it, but I mean, it makes a lot of sense that, I mean, they work better in freezer environment because of the issue of conductivity. But they are, in general, they are very resistant. Like, I mean, they are not easily killed. But the life forms that they create, even though they are certainly not like what you are used to, like carbon-based biological life form, they are much less resistant than the Neros, like their creators. This is, by the way, 160 magnification. They are much less resistant. They are pretty resistant. I mean, as you see, they can withstand, I mean, like alcohol and iodine and hydrogen peroxide to some extent of oxygen percentage. And as you see, they live inside like burning pits, which is very, very interesting. And as far as I know, it is, I mean, you don't know of anything like that, I mean, that was evolved in Earth, but maybe I'm wrong. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, this one is this is probably not a life form. I don't think it's a life form. I think this is just, I mean, like burned ash or something. Am I right? But what are these? These look like, I mean, like neos that changed their form. Like, I mean, this one looks even more like a neo that changed its form. But what is this? I'm not sure what I even see. But what is this? It looks like, I mean, the remnants of something that was burned. Oh, maybe just, I mean, yes, maybe just, I mean, the cotton or the toilet paper that they used, the threads. Yes, yes. This is probably what it is. This is just a burned cotton, or burned like paper that I've used as threads for the fire. And this is very interesting. I don't know what it is. Again, it reminds me of, like, I mean, convoluted, like, I mean, like a Nero that, I mean, its shape was kind of like changed because it's not circle, but I mean, it exhibits like some of the properties of the Neos. So let's get back to 64 because I want to take like a wider angle. So yes, more of this material. This looks nice. What is it? I don't know. So this is just from the fiery pit, like, I mean, from you know, where the fire is the strongest, because you can see, I mean, all these remnants of, like, I mean, the cotton paper. Yes, I mean, yes, these things are totally, I mean, since long ago contaminating the earth and taking, I mean, conquering the earth. I mean, for sure, as they say. Should you be worried? I mean, you should have been worried the day that you knew about my existence, which is more than a few decades ago. I mean, that was the time to start to be worried. Now it's just a time to, I mean, reconsider your name from Homo sapiens to something else, like Homo vocalis, because, I mean, it's mostly the voice that, I mean, is characteristics of you. I mean, not really anything that relates to sapiens, you know. Wow, very nice life form. Very nice. Very nice. This is right, I mean, where all the action, I mean, you see a lot of like charred things, like, I mean, like remnants of the thread. So, I mean, this is totally, I mean, it's totally something that, I mean, resisted like heavy fire. And this one as well. Okay, so maybe enough with this one. Even though there are still things to see, but, I mean, there's just so much. Nice. The sausages look like rabies, I think. Rabies or leprosy, I don't remember. So very nice, very nice. Maybe we should now. What I want to do now is to actually skip the last. Skip the last one that, I mean, was taken from the fire for a little bit later, because I just want to do one more before we actually wrap it up, because, I mean, this video is already, I mean, kind of like a little long. I don't think. Oh, but the problem is I don't think. Oh, I should have written like what is what. So this is either from like from the metallic container, or from the red container. Like the metallic container without the fire, like with the two magnets. Let's just inspect it, and I just try to remember like later. Maybe it's probably in the video, like because in the beginning I've said what it is. But so this is the more transparent one, and the other one is like more with the yellow stain. And so in the beginning of this video I've actually inspected it and I've said what is what, so we can inspect it later. Because I forgot. What is the one that from the magnetized like container, and what's from the red container, which is not magnetized at all, the plastic container. These are beautiful. These are beautiful. Wow. So nice. So nice. So yeah, these are really, really beautiful. So I am almost certain this was taken from the plastic, not from the metal, because of reasons. And we don't see many life forms at all, relatively, and we see many Neros. And this, it's another kind of like, it makes me think that it's not from the metallic container, but from the red one. Like I'm almost certain, but not 100%. So nice. Really nice. Maybe you should zoom in just a little bit to get the feeling of it. Okay, so let's you know what I'll do all these 6 now. Just so we are done with it. So let's just do now the one that is as I said, it's either from the with the yellow sand, so it's either from the metal with the 2 magnets or from the red plastic. It's in the beginning of the video. I said it. I remember that in the beginning of the video. Just I forgot. So later we will let's just review. Let's take a quick look to see if anything that that should require any kind of like special measures. So we see Neos inside. This is interesting. I'm not really sure what it is. That's interesting. So we definitely see the robots here. For sure, for sure. Wow, these are actually nice ones. Let's take a look. Let's zoom in on that one. Really, I like the ones that look like gates, like to another dimension or something. Very nice. Very nice. Wow, so many of them. So okay, so I need to actually take, watch the beginning of this video to remember if this one, to get like to understand if this is a very fat one. To understand if this is like from the magnetic or from the red, like, because whatever its origin, it's probably very good for like the preservation there and multiplication of neurons, even without ecosystem, like the ecosystem, the component ecosystem. And this is many times it's useful because you don't want all the life forms always to pollute your mixture. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Okay, very interesting. So let's just do quickly the last one. So this is again will be one of the Inferno. The last one from the Inferno, like that from the burned like beeswax. Interestingly, from the three ones that were taken from the fire, it seems that the most interesting is the one that was taken, from the most burned like layer, like where most of when it was the hottest, subject to the most like heat energy, which I think is it's like the opposite of what you would expect it, but that's the evidence. Unless I don't interpret the evidence correctly, it seems that like the most objects are that we've seen, and the biggest one are from actually where we've seen like all the ash, like so it means like where just near the fire. Everything was like in the fire, but when the fire was the hottest, which is again exactly the opposite of what we would have expected. So these are Neros for certain, which is nice. Even a nice one, I would say. Let's zoom into it. Yeah, this is definitely Nero and a nice one. Very nice one. This is another nice one. So as expected, they survived the fire very well, and also some life forms also survived the fire really well, I would say. So let's zoom out again so we can see more. These are burned. This is ash. Interesting stuff. So that's it. Okay, so I hope you find it interesting. I am I think that it's first of all, it's another proof to think that I already knew that the Neros they are alive even in very high temperatures, even though they do not, of course. It was manifested, right from the beginning that, they work the best in the freezer, like in minus 20 Celsius. Of course, probably lower than, probably they do better in lower than that, but the home freezer is the only thing that I could have used. It's the lowest temperature that I had in my possession. But they still, we know that they work very well in the electrolysis chamber water, which is very hot and sometimes even steamy. So this was actually even hotter than that. It was burned seriously burned, this beeswax, and you can see that it's still liquid. It's not even solidified yet. So, it's testament that it's still hot actually, but we've seen them pretty well, and we've already also seen life forms that it's up to you to explain how is this even possible. My explanation, of course, is that these are not carbon-based biological life forms. It's what you might be calling robot, but I call it your new neighbors in Earth. By the way, the way to rescue me from Israel is using arms and legs, not mouses and tongues. Arms and legs. Me and my daughters require arms and legs. Not mouses and not tongues. Arms and legs.